Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Dowd here, and boy, do I have news for you. Actually, I have news for you every day, so the fact that I have news isn't news. What's more, it isn't really any new news, just news, so let's get to it. It is July 24th, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. If at first you don't succeed, am I right? That's Red's philosophy anyway. Red is a premium, top-of-the-line, creme de la creme, if you don't shoot your YouTube videos on this thing GTFO camera manufacturer. Last year, it tried to make a phone, and oh my god did they screw up. I mean, they not only dropped the ball, they stomped on it, punctured it, set it on fire, and then leaned down to inhale all the toxic fumes coming from the melting ball, setting their face on fire in the process. That might actually be overstating it, but not by much. Red spent a whole year, if not two, pimping the fact that they were making a phone. I honestly don't remember if it was only 1 year or two that they bragged about this, and I honestly don't care enough about the phone to actually go look it up. Suffice it to say, it was stupid. They invited YouTubers to come look at the phone and then filmed their reaction looking at the phone, but didn't actually show us the phone. I mean, it was orbit-achieving amounts of stupid. When this phone came out, well, it sucked donkey balls. This phone had a bad screen, bad battery, and the most insulting part of all, it had a terrible camera from a camera company. It was just a bad phone, and to be fair, it wasn't the worst phone that came out last year. That honor probably falls to, I don't know, Blue or some off-brand on a crappy MVNO or something. But those crappy phones cost $20. Literally $20. The Red Hydrogen 1 costs $1,300. Are you insane dollars? I have a Galaxy S10 5G phone sitting on my desk right now that also costs $1,300. And despite how much I love this phone, link in the show notes of the podcast review I did, I'm having a hard time justifying that price tag, and this phone has the 5Gs. Bottom line, this phone was terrible, a laughingstock of the industry. And they're making another one. That's right, Red founder Jim Jannard wrote a forum post that places all the blame squarely on an unnamed Chinese ODM, or original device manufacturer. Basically, the ODM are the ones that designed the phone, and Jannard said that, quote, it significantly underperformed, and he goes on to say, quote, getting our ODM in China to finish the committed features and fix known issues on the Hydrogen 1 has proven to be beyond challenging. Impossible, actually. This has been irritating me to death and flooding our reactor. And Tristan, by the way, I think this is just an American English thing, because flooding our reactor means I actually have no idea what it means either, so touche. But this is the part that makes me the most nervous. Jannard goes on, quote, for this reason, after months of vetting a new design-to-manufacture house, we have begun work on the Hydrogen 2, virtually from scratch, at a new ODM that is clearly more capable of building and supporting the product that we and our customers demand. So yeah, Red is designing a sequel, a Hydrogen 2, and they're building it entirely from scratch with a new company. And the thing here is, one of the biggest reasons why this phone was so terrible was because Red kept shoving in our faces, we're making a phone and it's going to be the mind-blowingest phone ever made by anyone, ever. And it was just so terrible. So here's some advice, Red, which is way too late to follow, by the way. But anyway, make your phone and release it. Don't brag about it. Don't invite super secret YouTubers to come look at it. Just make your phone and release it. Start by figuring out how to make the cheese pizza, then add the pepperoni, or pineapple, or ice cream, or whatever. It's okay to just make a good phone and brag about how it's the best ever. OnePlus does that every year. Just don't charge $1,300 for it. So we'll leave Red to ponder that advice while we transition over into the roundup! Holy crap, shots fired. The Justice Department announced today it is beginning a broad, sweeping antitrust investigation into big tech. This is separate from investigations already ongoing with Google and Apple focusing on specific potential violations. The press release says the investigation, quote, will consider the widespread concerns that consumers, businesses, and entrepreneurs have expressed about search, social media, and some retail services online. We're not naming any names, and we're definitely not focusing on Google, Facebook, and Amazon. Well, that's a relief. But seriously, what all this means, we'll have to wait and see. If you're doing a broad sweep, you're not really going to have any plans to address any specific concerns. So, is this political posturing? It kind of sounds like political posturing. 9to5Mac has sources claiming that we will see 3 new iPhones this fall, replacing the 3 new iPhones we saw last fall. Okay, that makes sense. These new iPhones will presumably be called the iPhone 11 and will sport 3 cameras on the back and also continue the grand tradition of the Lightning jack. There was some speculation that Apple would go with a USB Type-C, but those speculators didn't factor in Apple's philosophy of why make customers buy 1 cable when you can make them buy 2. And speaking of Apple, search is gold, which is why top placement in search results basically determines winners and losers. It's also why it's important to leave a review for the Digit Daily. Not so subtle hint. So when the Wall Street Journal reported that Apple favors its own apps in search above competitors, Apple said, don't be silly. Of course we don't do that. But you know what? They totally do. BuzzFeed News takes a long look at the retweet button on Twitter and how it kind of helped destroy the platform. Back in the day, if you wanted to retweet someone, you'd have to add the letters RT and copy and paste a tweet from the person into a new tweet, and according to researchers, that gave people pause to stop and think about what they were about to say. The retweet button removes all those barriers, including the should I actually be spreading this barrier, and that's a barrier that I think the internet needs more of, not less. Lifehacker gives advice on how to steer clear of Libra cryptocurrency scams, while the Digit Daily's advice remains consistent: steer clear of Libra cryptocurrency. Project Loon, which I think at this point is just called Loon, but anyway, and the engineers of Loon wrote a Medium post about it. It's not the most important thing you'll read today, if I'm totally honest, but it is cool looking at some of the insights learned by just letting those things go and letting them fly. Give it a look if you have a few minutes to spare and want to wave your nerd flag at the water cooler today. And finally, it's amazing the lengths to which a company will go to prove that it has worldwide appeal, and that includes making pizza for bees. Papa John's created a pizza that is less than 1 inch in diameter and topped with pollen and flowers for our flower-populating friends to raise awareness of the declining bee population, which seems to have worked because I didn't know there was a declining bee population, but now I do, so mission accomplished. So that is going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, #subtle reminder, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.